think it's kind of a good look to have those bare arms with this armor.
DorkLair!
Welcome to another DorkLair action figure review. Today I'm taking a look at the Mythic Legions Lord Bardric Autumnborn. Freshly released, the Illythia wave is starting to hit mailboxes. I have Bardric in hand. Currently the only one I have in hand, but if you ordered 6-inch figures and have an order with only 6-inch figures, like 1.0 and 2.0 style figures from the Illythia wave, you should start seeing those shipping within the next 2 weeks, and then rolling week after week after that, you'll start seeing the other figures, the bigger ones, the all-ins, and the moose and the mounts and all that stuff. So right now, currently, I just have Bardric. I'll be getting more soon. Eventually, I'll be doing a review, but I do have a bigger order with the moose and all that. That's not an all-in. That is going to take a little while to get here. So we'll see what I can get in hand. In the meantime, right now, we have an incredible figure. I knew immediately that I would get at least an extra of this figure. I think I ended up getting 2 extra of this guy in the end. But when I thought initially they might do a bonus and I wanted to order within the first 24 hours, I grabbed a Bardric because, just look at this. This is a brand new figure, top to bottom. I don't think there's a single reused part except for the neck and the hips and the ankle joints. Everything else is brand new, I'm pretty sure. So, we're getting access to just all these new parts right away with Lord Bardric right here. Bardric is the leader of a new sub-faction of Xylona's flock called the Harvest Court, and he kind of has a vibe that feels very Harvest-like. He's got a lot of fall colors, and he just feels like an autumn type of a character. So here we have Bardric Autumnborn. And let's get into this review. First of all, we have the packaging, collector-friendly Mythic Legions clamshell. Nothing new when you look at it from this side, but if you take a look at the back, we do have the brand new Illythia wave packaging over here. So this is pretty sweet to have a new look on the back, and I cannot wait to get the rest of these figures. It's going to kill me to have just one for now. But at least I have one, and at least we get to take a nice close look at this one. And here's a look at his bio, if you want to pause it, or you can just go to Source Horseman, which is the best place to learn about Mythic Legions, sourcehorseman.com. Okay, here's a close look at the Bardric head sculpt, and remember, every single part on this thing is brand new. We have not seen any of it in hand yet. So for me, this is all the first time, and that is just one of the most intricately sculpted and crafted head sculpts. This must have a bunch of parts to it, and they glue them together at the factory, but there's a lot of detail there. So look at the bottom of the braids. That is some crisp sculpt work right there. Very nice looking elf. And then here's a close-up of that new neck piece. That's got that leather quality to it and the straps there. And a look at the torso here. Very similar kind of paint scheme with the black straps, the silver buckles, and the brown leather that's distressed and weathered. Kind of continues down through here. We have a riveted skirt piece. This green one underneath, that is the loincloth. And I'll pop this thing apart and mess around with some swaps a little later in the video. New shoulder pauldrons are very cool. You got the cloth-like arms. You've got the new gauntlets with the half leather, half armor bits there. Brand new leathered hands, leathered gloved hands, and he does come with a pair of gripping hands. I think they said they're going to start including fists and gripping hands with a lot of the figures now. And the new cloth pants. We have the sculpted metal greaves. And again, sort of like the half leather, half metal, and a pair of leather boots. So the leather feet, the greaves, the pants, this new skirt, torso, arms, just everything about this figure is new. Like literally the ankle joint there, and the hips piece there, like those are the only 2 things that are actually reused. Oh, and the neck is an original human like neck. So beautiful looking figure. I love that head sculpt there. I don't see really much wrong with any of the paint applications on here. There's a couple little, it's almost hard to see, but there's a couple little flecks of the bronze color, kind of flecked throughout the hair, but very minimal. And that's the top of the head looks like there. Yeah, so you could probably get into some customizing with this head because there's a lot of different little parts and pieces that you could probably unglue if you wanted to mess around with it. Very good looking figure. Look at that. That is beautiful. And then just another kind of quick look at the straps that are on the skirt where you could store weapons and things throughout these straps right here. Super nice. I'm just in love with this figure. It just feels so new. It's a whole new figure. It's a brand new Mythic Legions body. And yet it's compatible with all of the other 1.0 style figures. Also, if I remember correctly, this might be the first elf on a 1.0 body. But yeah, we'll do some swaps after and see how it mixes and matches with some other figures. For accessories, he does come with those removable pauldrons, which are on the figure right now. He's also got the two-handed greatsword. It's an awesome piece. He's got the elven axe. I think this is the same axe that they've been using for the elves. He's got the bow and a quiver of arrows, and then he's also got an additional single arrow that you can use to peg into the bow on the side here. And the bows do have a springy string there, so you can definitely pose them up with the arrows and stuff. And he's got a pair of gripping hands so that you can swap out the fists for the weapon holding hands. Next up, let's take a look at Lord Bardric next to a few other figures. First up, here he is next to an elf and a dwarf, and yes, you can get a sense here with these two that this is definitely a 1.0 style body at the 2.0 elf and the shorter dwarf, and he is much bigger than both of those. Next up, we have a couple standard 1.0 figures. So this is, the same compatible buck. So it should be roughly the same size here. You can see those shoulders all come in around the same height, those shoulder pauldrons there. On the left, we have my Tibius that has a custom head sculpt from EM Custom Parts, Eric Miller. On the right, we have my Sir Gerard with custom cape and loincloth from Harker Customs. Next, we have the Storm Collectibles Golden Axe figures, Gilius the Dwarf on the left and the Axe Battler on the right. And I think there's potential here to take Gilius's tunic and put it on a Mythic Legion's body because it is an outer piece. It's like a plastic outer piece, and I think it could fit. And those arms on Bardric are pretty close to the same color. They're slightly darker, but I think it could work. Finally, two other familiar, similarly sized lines. On the left, we have the movie realization Mandalorian. On the right, we have a Super 7 Ultimates Conan with a little head swap going on here. And then for articulation. So the head sculpt is not going to go back very far because of the way the hair is. The hair is soft and it will move around a little bit, but not enough to get him to look up in any way. And then, of course, you can twist it, cock it side to side. It's on that ball joint at the top. And so decent range of motion, all things considered, with all that hair. And these front pieces are very soft as well. Very much the same articulation as any 1.0 style figure. You've got the pauldrons that are pegged onto the back over there, and get those out of the way for the rest of the articulation. And the arm can swing up to past 90 degrees, just barely, and you can swing it up and around like this. Single jointed elbow comes up just about to 90 degrees, which is, I think, is a little better than the arms that are bare, the muscular arms. This is like a slightly less muscular build. There's, of course, a twist at the elbow. There's also a twist at the gauntlet. The wrist has a horizontal hinge. And probably my one issue, which is not an issue for me, but it's going to probably be an issue for some people, is that my torso pops off like super easy. I don't mind because I love posing my figures and messing around with it. And it's not like loose really, but it's a lot looser than normal. But as you can see, it's got the typical ball jointed waist and you can kind of crunch all around with it. But yeah, that pops off a little too easy. But so for some people, they're not going to like it. And then I wanted to point out that this green piece is your pegged in loincloth. It's just a super short version of a loincloth. So that is not part of the skirt piece, which is pretty nice because then it gives you the chance to mix and match with some other pieces. The nice soft skirt allows the legs to kick forward quite a bit, kick back. You have that twist at the thigh. He can go out into the splits. And then you have the single jointed knee, comes up to about 90 degrees. There's a twist below the knee joint. And then you have the twist at the ankle and an ankle rocker as well. That can get tons of range in that rocking motion. Okay, and finally, I thought it would be fun to just do a couple swaps, and I pulled some things that I think are relatively similar color-wise and kind of will look good with the rest of the stuff because, even if you're going to do a head swap, you're going to want something that's going to match those greens and oranges that are in his head, in the like ornaments on his head. So I have a Calavius Faunus, Kit Bash on the right. Then I have Kalaros parts on the left. And I'm just gonna toss these together and see what we got here. I'm gonna just do it off camera and then I'll cut it in. All right, so here's the first one. I think it looks pretty good. This is just a straight up, just the only thing from Bardric on this is the head sculpt. I kind of had pre-made this Kit Bash ahead of time just for the sake of, saving time during the recording of the video. But yeah, so I do think the flesh tone is a little bit different. Bardric's head's a little bit lighter. It doesn't have as many blacks and grays in it as Calavius's body. But it's doable, Like, I think this looks pretty darn good, especially when you kind of look at the way the head ornaments and stuff match with the Faunus armor. And then to get a look at the bear arms and stuff on here, we have Kalaros, which the hips on my Kalaros are ridiculously loose, but I think it looks pretty good, I think it's kind of a good look to have those bear arms with this armor. I think that's going to be a lot of barbarian swaps and stuff. I went with Kalaros because I felt like his colors matched, and thought it would be kind of a neat thing to do. But there you go, Kalaros. Thanks for watching my video, and until next time, may the force be with you.